Of course, the best part of baking is putting it on a serving tray.
It's the Great Taylor C. Baker Show.
Hello, my name is Taylor C. Baker, and I am baking my way through the Great British Baking Show Technical Challenges. And this week, we are covering Florentines, because that's right, it's Biscuit Week, y'all! Club music. We are going to bake Mary Berry's Florentines. They are chocolatey, cranberry-y, fruit-y, and delicious. So let's get started. First up, naturally, we preheat the oven to 350 degrees. What a delightful sound. So first up, we want to use a 1/4 cup of butter, which for those of us who love these things is half a stick of butter. A 1/4 cup of Demerara sugar, which I don't really know what the difference is. There's all different kinds of sugars. And this looks like sugar in the raw, for those of you who like fancy sugar in your coffee. And we are going to do a 1/4 cup of golden syrup. Now this is just called maple syrup, but it's a golden color. So I figured that was good enough. So we want to melt butter, Demerara sugar, and golden syrup in a pan. And you do this until the butter is melted. So we want to remove that from heat. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix up while that is cooling all of our other ingredients. 1/4 cup of flour. So this calls for something I've never heard of called candied peel. And maybe it's like a US thing, or maybe I didn't go to the right store. But it's basically like dried fruit in like sugar. So I just got regular dried fruit. It's a berry fruit mix. This has all the things. It's raisins, golden raisins, cranberries, cherry, and blueberries. So this may be a little different of a flavor profile than these typically taste, but it's a bunch of dried fruit mixed with chocolate and butter and sugar. So I think it's gonna be pretty delicious. And now we have to do 2 tablespoons of almonds and 2 tablespoons of walnuts, which I've developed a bit of a film, so just give it a mix. And there we have it, part 1 of our Florentines. So now we're supposed to spoon 18 of these bad boys. Must be really tiny, because this does not seem like enough for 18. So dealer's choice, you can butter this down. I would recommend parchment paper. There's also like a silicone tray you can use. I'm gonna go parchment paper because I believe in ease. And ultimately, it's way easier to get stuff off of this than peel it off your pans. And you also, I don't think anybody wants to eat anything that was baked off of this pan that touched this surface. This is where it gets messy. So try to make them, I guess, into roundness. They're gonna spread, I guess. So in the Great British Baking Show, it is imperative that you bake the exact amount. Precision is a very important thing in this show, in the Great British Baking Show, in the Great Taylor C. Baker Show. I would like to think you guys aren't gonna judge me if I make 17 instead of 18, but we'll see. Leave in the comments below. Am I a terrible baker if I can't bake exactly the right number? I always usually end up with a little more or a little less. And the best part of any baker's journey, you know what happens when you mix sugar into syrup? Delicious. You eat a lot of sugar. And now we need to bake these for 8 to 10 minutes. And I've never used this oven, so this could, who knows what's gonna happen. So now we're gonna temper our chocolate, which means that we put a bowl over a bowl of water. So you fill a bowl up with water, and you wanna boil that water, and you're going to put your chocolat in a heat-proof bowl. I really hope this bowl is heat-proof. In a heat-proof bowl, we'll see if this is heat-proof, what happens. So I got 72% cacao. Cacao! This is called Twilight Delight, and it actually looks like it's in the font of Twilight, the movie. And we're gonna temper it, which is something along the lines of trying to make your chocolate shiny. Because chocolate, of course, only tastes good if it has a sheen. So naturally, when tempering chocolate, you want to use a spatula that says, chocolate doesn't ask questions. Chocolate understands. Because chocolate understands. Waiting for water to boil while something is baking. So much of baking is waiting. nope, it's done now. So these have expanded quite a bit, but they look nice and crisp around the edges. I don't know if the center is done, but I didn't want the ends to burn too much, so I took them out. So major tip when cooking these, a little goes a very long way. I probably could have made 20. So we want to let these cool now. So something I foresee being very interesting is trying to get these off, which parchment paper may come in handy because I might just try to peel them off the paper. But I am gonna, no! Almost dropped all of them, but I am gonna take them off the tray so that I don't have a cooling rack, another handy thing when it comes to baking, but I'm gonna take them off the tray again. Radio's hair, how did you get here? You are miles away, but you're with us. They're actually pretty crisp. I don't know if you can hear that crunch in my mouth. Hello, pretty chocolate. You're tempering nicely. So when you're tempering chocolate, it's very much about the temperature for tempering. And naturally, I don't have a chocolate thermometer. So this is gonna be a real case of eyeballing, but it is glossy. So I think it's working. My chocolate looks pretty shiny, pretty tempered. So now that my chocolat is tempered, we are gonna do the fun, hard part of trying to peel these off this paper. Oh no! The paper is stuck to it. They are really good. If I can get the paper off of them. So Paul Hollywood, people have actually served him food with paper on it before. I don't want to do that. Paper is 10,000% stuck to the bottom of these. I've seen this happen to many of my fellow bakers on the Great British Baking Show. And you're always like, nah, dummy, that'll never happen to me. It happened to me. So what we're gonna do is start over.
It's the Great Taylor C. Baker Show.
Okay, take 2. All right, now I'm gonna ferociously butter this, and hopefully this next batch will not stick. I'm just gonna double oil. Use butter and just a hint of the oil we call olive, just to kind of rub it in. All right, so I feel pretty good about coming out of here with 17, the second go round. So now they're in little ball shapes. I have 17, and these are, look how greasy these trays are. None of this. Bye, Florentines. And as to not take myself too seriously, I have hung proudly. See, Mary's proud of me. Mary, are you proud of me? My Florentine stuck to the paper. I did this. I'm so sorry, Mary. I'll make it up to you. Okay. Little crisp around the edges, but I think that's what you want. So I've made a thrilling discovery. I accidentally used wax paper instead of parchment paper, and it basically melted onto my cookies, which is why it won't come off. So the moral of the story is either butter your tins or make sure you're using parchment paper, because also this could probably catch on fire in the oven. So safety first. Lesson learned. Parchment paper, not wax paper. Yes, parchment. No wax. Thank you so much for watching the Great Taylor C. Baker Show. Today I was the okay Taylor C. Baker Show. I made a rookie mistake. I took one for the team, and I told you, I taught you the moral of the story: butter your tins. Tune in next week for ciabatta bread, my first bread bake. Paul Hollywood will hopefully be pleased by my performance. Any good baker can bake a damn good bread, and hopefully I will do Paul Hollywood proud and not be shrouded in my mistakes. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next week. Hit subscribe, and I will see you soon.
It's the Great Taylor C. Baker Show.